Hiya, I'm just going to try to demonstrate how we can use a form to get input from the user, and then we can process that using some PHP. First of all, let me just save a page here. So remember, always save as PHP and always save it in your htdocs because we're running a local server here. So make sure you're in htdocs. I'm just going to call it form handling example. Here we go. Spell that correctly. Right. So first of all, I'm going to create a form. Now, feel free to skip ahead a little bit if you... Well, actually, you know what? Don't skip ahead quite yet. I'm going to put just a simple input on here. So you learned about this at higher. I'm just going to put a text input. And what's important now, and to be able to actually work with this, we need to give each input a name. Okay, so the name is just like, it's like in VB.NET, for example, when you give the different controls on the form, you give them a name so you can actually work with them. How are you going to refer to it in your code? So I'm just going to call this the username. That'll do. Okay. And let's just, I'm not even doing a proper label here. Enter your name. Now, what we're also going to need is a submit button. So our form needs a submit button, and that will essentially activate, that'll say that the inputting's done. Let's go and do some processing now. So type equals submit. And you might remember you can change the value of the submit button. So I'll just set it to OK for now. Okay. Now that's not quite done yet. Let's just go and there's my previous example. Let's just have a look at that in the browser. So localhost and then whatever I called it, form handling example, I think. Xmaple. God, come on, Hill, focus. There we go. Okay. Enter your name. There's our form. Now, at the moment, even when I click that, it's not going to do anything because I need to give it a little bit more information. Up in the opening form tag, you need to give 2 pieces of information. Now, you're required to know this for advanced hire. You can't get form handling to work without it. You're required to know this for the exam. So, the first piece of information that you can give it is the action attribute. And that's going to tell it which file to activate, which file to use to process this data. So I'll be creating a different one in a moment. I'm just going to call it form handler. And it's going to be a PHP file. Okay, so I haven't created this yet, but I'm about to. The other thing you're going to type is the method. And you've got 2 options here, get or post. Now, I'm not going to focus on the differences between them here, but suffice to say, get will do for this. Post we'd need if we need the user's input to be transmitted securely. Okay. That's a basic summary for now. Post when it needs to be secure, get otherwise. So get or post. And that should do it. Now, I'm going to need to create a form handler. So at the moment, still, even though I've done that, well, let's go and do this. So object not found. It can't find this file handler.php. So we better create it. So let's save this. I want it to be PHP and I want it to be called file handler. Okay, and I'm just keeping it in the same folder. So it's PHP. So remember, even though it's only PHP in this file, we still have to do this. And now what am I going to do? Well, first of all, I'm going to store the form data in a variable. And this is how you do it. So The form data is coming from this text input here, which has the name username. So I'm going to create a variable. Now, it's sensible here just to stick with the same name for your variable. So I'm going to call mine username. So we put $1 at the start. There's no declaring variables in PHP. You just start using them. There's no necessity to state a data type or anything like that. You just come up with a name, stick $1 at the start. Remember, PHP is case sensitive, so if you call it username like that here, you're going to have to call it capitalized username throughout. And what I want to put in it is whatever is passed to this using the get method. So it's $_get in uppercase. That has to be uppercase now, because now this is PHP. Didn't need to be uppercase here. Maybe you want to be in the habit of doing that, but it's not required here. This is HTML. It's not case sensitive. This is case sensitive. Then we do square brackets. Don't forget a semicolon at the end. And in these square brackets, we put, in single quotes, just put the name of the input. So what this means is we're looking for something which has been passed using the get method with the name username. And we're going to store that in our variable called username. Now actually, we don't have to do that. We could just keep using that throughout every time we want to use this variable. But this is a bit neater. This is pretty standard practice. And now, let's just display a message to the user. Okay, so to the user error even. I'm just going to echo, just a silly little thing here. So I've got a string dot to concatenate. So use ampersand in VB.NET, you use plus in Sublime, plus in JavaScript, dot in PHP, and then just the usual thing. This bit is essentially a basic National 5 level program. Don't forget your semicolon. Okay? Maybe you want to stick that in let's stick it in a heading. Whoops. So I'm going to concatenate on the closing tag. My head in there. Right. Let's see what happens. We go back. Let's refresh that. And oh, ha! Form handler. Oh god, what have I done? Right, okay. let me work this out. What have I done? Can someone tell? Oh, I've called it file handler. Heavens above. That's because I've just been doing file handling videos for hire. You know what? It's not a very good name, but I'll save time. Let's do that. Okay. It'll work this time. I guarantee it. Come on. Come on. Oh. Shoot me now. Filehandler.php line 8. Okay. What have I not done? Oh. What a fool. There we go. Forgot the speech marks. Oh. Finally got there. Okay. Remember, we can right click, view on the page source, and you can see the actual code there. So this is essentially creating a new page. We'll look later at how we could have it appear on the same page as the form. So we could have it appear underneath there, for example. You can stop there if you want. I'll carry on with my example. Let's just add a different input. Let's see, how many times would you like to display the message? Would you like to display the message? What am I doing? Is that right? Yeah. And then we'll do another input, and we'll make this a number, and we'll give it the name you know, whatever. How many? Well, I'll use how many. We'll use uppercase there just because. Just because. Let's go here. So let's also get how many, and it's $_get how many, and there we go. And so let's just let's do kind of like we did in the previous one. Let's start a loop, and we'll see if I can remember even how to do it. $I. Let's start off with 1, and let's do it while it's less than or equal to the value in how many, and let's add 1 every time. Remember, just as we use step in other languages, you could change how that increments. We could decrease it. We could go up by more than 1 at a time, or if you like. And let's do that. That's the end of the loop, I think. Let's see if that works. So let's refresh that, and let's just play it 7 times. Click OK. Nailed it. Okay. One last thing that you might notice about, we'll look at this a bit more later, that when we pass using get, then the values that have been input into the form get added onto the URL up here. So we get a question mark added on to the end of the URL, and then the values. Username, that was the name of that input, equals Bobby. Bobby and Bob. And how many, that was second input, equals 7. And that is why, I mean, we can't do secure stuff with that where the data has been added straight to the URL. That's why we'd have to use post if we wanted to keep things secure. Anyway, there's slightly rambling, the typically shambolic demonstration, but I hope it helps a little bit. See you later.